Judge Ho in New York is on the horns of a dilemma. Does he allow Donald Trump and his corrupt Department of Justice just dismiss the case against Eric Adams in order to force Eric Adams into a quid pro quo to play ball on their immigration policy? Or does he do his job as a federal judge with his inherent authority and he gets to the bottom with a factual inquiry and ultimately assign his own special prosecutor to go after Eric Adams, the mayor of New York? Does he reinstall and reinstill in us confidence in our justice system, or does he ignore it and ignore his responsibilities? We cover it all on the Legal AF After Dark edition. And here's a clip. Let's wrap up with soon to be not Mayor Adams of New York and what it says about the Justice Department. I'll do a two-liner on it. Mayor Adams indicted for bribery, for taking foreign donations, for looking the other way because the Turkish government paid for his luxury travel. And in return, the quid pro quo there, because we have a double quid pro quo here, is that he would have the fire marshal and the building department look the other way in New York, approve the Turkish consulate for the arrival of the Turks so they wouldn't be embarrassed. And he lined his pocket in the meantime. He gets indicted for that. That was not an example of weaponization. That was an example of Democrats who commit crimes being indicted. That's why Senator Menendez is looking at 15 years in jail for taking gold bricks from the Egyptians. And that's why Mayor Adams was indicted and Hunter Biden was indicted. These were examples of an impartial Department of Justice. Mayor Adams has been currying favor and trying to solicit a pardon from Donald Trump. And Donald Trump decided, I got one better. You play ball with my immigration policy in New York, and you destroy the sanctuary city status of New York, and I'll dismiss your indictment, but without prejudice, meaning you don't play ball. I'm going to re-indict you. That's the unholy bargain. Mayor Adams thought that could save his career. It's not going to. He's either going to get removed by a feature of the New York City Charter, where people can vote him out. 4 different people can vote him out, or 4 people can vote him out, or Governor Hochul is going to take him out. I think they're all waiting to see something that happened in court today. And so Judge Ho, who we talked about at the top of the podcast, had a very interesting hearing because Emile Bove showed up in court to argue that for political expediency purposes and no other reason, that they want to have the indictment dismissed. Normally, a judge, when the executive branch who's responsible for prosecuting a case says that they want to dismiss something, he rubber stamps it. But I don't think Judge Ho's going to rubber stamp it. And there's plenty of people, including here on Legal AF, that are calling for Judge Ho to do something within his inherent authority, which is to assign a special prosecutor to evaluate and investigate what happened here. And don't let Danielle Sassoon sacrifice your career in vain. And the other 7 prosecutors under her, including the entirety of the Public Integrity Unit in Washington, get to the bottom of what happened, figure out whether justice was done there, protect the justice system in the eyes of the American people, and assign a special counsel that not through the Department of Justice, because you can't trust them here, through him. And that's what we're waiting on, while I think Governor Hochul waits to see what's going to happen in the next 72 hours with Judge Ho. What's your perspective, Karen?
Look, I don't know what's taking the governor so long, frankly. To me, the straw that broke the camel's back was this weekend when half of his cabinet, the 4 deputy mayors, resigned, in particular Chauncey Parker, who's somebody I've known my entire career, who is the most ethical, credible person. He's one of the most regarded and respected people in New York. Frankly, you will not find any person on either side of the aisle, Democrat or Republican, who will say a negative thing about Chauncey Parker. He's just a really good guy, and he was head of public safety. He was a former federal prosecutor, former state prosecutor at the Manhattan DA's office. He was an executive for Cy Vance. He's now working for the police department. He's just a policy guy, and he's just been in public service forever. And when he stepped down this weekend, essentially signaling to the world that he doesn't have confidence in Mayor Adams and he can't work for this administration. He's literally the least political person I know. I thought, oh my God, that's the biggest statement of all. I mean, having people like Chauncey Parker and the other 3 deputy mayors who resigned actually made people think, okay, if things are going to be okay, even though Mayor Adams has this case, at least we'll know that there's not going to be corruption in city government anymore. Things are going to go forward. And the ship is going to stay on course. And people surmise that's why Kathy Hochul, the governor, left Mayor Adams in place, because he had surrounded himself by such good people. Well, they've all walked out the door. And so I do not know what's taking her so long. And what happened today in court was, so Danielle Sassoon, who was the United States attorney, the Republican chosen acting U.S. attorney, resigned in protest because she wasn't going to sign her name to this dismissal because it was this corrupt quid pro quo, essentially, and dangling this thing over Mayor Adams' head. This dismissal without prejudice, meaning we could bring it back any time, so that he can implement Trump's immigration policies and other policies, was just a bridge too far. You don't do that. That's actually the definition of corruption. And so everybody was looking for Judge Ho today at the hearing to really hold a factual hearing, hold their feet to the fire, and frankly, at least make a record of what's going on here. But I wasn't there. I didn't see the hearing, but I watched, I read a lot about it, the live tweets, and spoke to some people who were there. And it appears that Judge Ho did something extremely conservative, meaning he didn't take advantage of all the things he could have taken advantage of. He didn't cross-examine anybody. He hasn't yet appointed anyone to take the adverse position, which he could do, because right now you've got the prosecution and the defense agreeing that the case should be dismissed. But you've also got officers of the court, Danielle Sassoon and others, who have written these very public letters about the corruption going on here. And if I were the court, if I were a judge, and I'm not, I would want to get to the bottom of that. That is extremely troubling. And certainly what Judge Ho said was, look, I don't have the discretion here not to do this, but I do have some role. And so I was hoping he would use this as a fact finding and appoint someone to take the adverse position, which is done all the time, by the way, when you appoint someone, for example, when people file an amicus brief, a judge can reject it or accept it. And if they're accepting it, they can appoint someone to take the adverse position, just so all sides are fully briefed and fully explored. And so I was hoping Judge Ho would do that. He still could. Hopefully he will. He did not rule from the bench. He said, this is I want to do this by the book, and I'm going to take my time and make a decision after considering all positions. But with the record that was created here, I mean, Emile Beauvais didn't pretend, change his story. He basically came in and was like, I could do whatever I want. We have discretion. We could do what we want. Yes, this is what we're doing. And didn't kind of, he's not even pretending to have this be about anything else. And so I think that this case is going to be dismissed fairly quickly. I do hope Judge Ho appoints somebody to take the adverse position, so that at least there's a record. And that's that. You know, I was disappointed, let's say, that Judge Ho was not more aggressive at trying to get to the truth here, given what we know and what we have seen has happened. I mean, in the history of the Department of Justice, you do not have the crisis that is going on here, and people resigning in mass, being locked in a room and told you're going to be fired if you don't file this. You don't have the president essentially saying, I will dismiss this case if you don't do what I want you to do. And the judge did give a hypothetical to Emile Beauvais, because one of the things they said was, oh, look, he's running for office. 6 months from now or whenever that is, when the primaries are. And, we don't want to interfere with an election, and, and we don't want to interfere with presidential policies. And Judge Ho said, so what if it was a police commissioner? Would that be the same? And he's like, oh, yes, that would be the same. He basically said, if you're a politician or if you're involved in politics, and that we're not going to interfere. We're not going to get involved, which is, crazy. It's just absolutely insane to me that this is what the position that our government is taking. And, the hearing's over.
Yeah, so we'll watch to see what Judge Ho does next. Whether he appoints a special prosecutor or special counsel or he dismisses the case. Welcome back. That's a clip of a full-length show we call Legal AF on the Midas Touch Network. Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we sit at the intersection of law and politics, so you don't have to, bringing you commentary and analysis like no other on the YouTube dial. And you can pick us up on audio podcast platforms as well. We're here on the Midas Touch Network and Legal AF, the home of 2 of the top 10 podcasts in America, all because of you. If you already know us and you're part of the Legal AF community, I thank you for that. If you don't know about us, come on, join us. Our journey is part of your own. And follow us on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And you're here already, hit the free subscribe button to help us continue to grow this pro-democracy channel. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.